Surah 33 or 90 chronological order. Al-Ahzab, Part 1. Prophet, fear Allah and do not obey the Kafirun and the hypocrites. Allah was learned, wise, and obey what you are inspired with from your Lord. Allah was an expert in what you do. And put your trust in Allah, and Allah was sufficient as an agent. Allah has not made for a man two hearts in his abdomen, nor has he made your husbands whom you pronounce zihar upon, your mothers. Nor has he made your adopted sons your sons. That is your speech with your mouths. But Allah tells the truth, and he guides to the way. Call them by their fathers. It is more equitable with Allah. But if you have not known their fathers, then your brothers in the religion and your mawali. But there is no transgression in what you have sinned, but what your hearts intended. And Allah was a forgiver, merciful. The Prophet is closer to the believers than themselves, and his husbands are their mothers. And the possessors of wombs are closer to one another in Allah's book than the believers and the emigrants, except that you do your protectors a kindness. That was Mastur in the book. And when we took from the prophets their covenant, and from you, and from Nuh, and Ibrahim, and Musa, and Isa, son of Maryam, and we took from them a thick covenant, to ask the truthful about their truth. And he has prepared for the Kafirun painful torture. Those who have believed, remember Allah's grace upon you when troops came to you, and we sent upon them a wind and troops. You did not see them, and Allah was a seer of what you do. When they came to you from above you and from below you, and when eyesight deviated and reached the hearts, the throats, and you make assumptions about Allah. There the believers were tried and shaken severely. And when the hypocrites and those in whose hearts is disease say, Allah and his messenger have not promised us but delusion. And when a band of them said, people of Yathrib, there is no residence for you, so return. And a party of them seeks permission of the Prophet, saying, our houses are awra, and they are not awra. They want nothing but flight. And had it been entered upon them from its quarters, then they would have been asked for fitna. They would have given it, and would not have hesitated concerning it, except a little. And they had covenanted with Allah before that they would not turn backsides, and Allah's covenant was questioned. Say, fleeing will not benefit you if you have fled from death or killing, and then you are not amused except a little. Say, who is that which protects you from Allah if he has wanted evil for you or has wanted mercy for you? And they do not find for them instead of Allah a protector or a helper. Allah knows the obstructors among you, and those who say to their brothers, come to us, and they do not come to the horribleness except a few. Miserly towards you. But when the fear came, you saw them looking at you, their eyes rolling like the one who faints from death. But when the fear had gone, they pierced you with sharp tongues, miserly towards the good. Those they have not believed, so Allah has made their deeds worthless, and that was easy for Allah. They think the parties have not gone, and if the parties should come, they would wish that they were living in the desert among the Bedouin, asking about your news. And if they were among you, they would not fight except a little. You had in Allah's messenger a good exemplar for him who was hoping for Allah and the last day, and has remembered Allah much. And when the believers saw the parties, they said, this is what Allah and his messenger promised us, and Allah and his messenger have told the truth. And it did not increase them, but in faith and submission. Among the believers are men who have confirmed what they have covenanted with Allah. And among them is he who has fulfilled his vow, and among them is he who awaits. And they do not change a change. That Allah may recompense the truthful for their truth and torture the hypocrites if he wills, or repent for them. Allah was a forgiver, merciful. And Allah repelled those who had disbelieved in their rage. They did not obtain good. And Allah spared the believers fighting, and Allah was strong, mighty. And he sent down those who had aided them of the people of the book from their strongholds, and threw terror into their hearts. A party you kill, and a party you capture. And he caused you to inherit their land and their homes and their monies, and a land you had not trodden. And Allah was mighty over everything. Prophet, say to your husbands, if If you are wanting the dunya life and its adornment, then come, I shall amuse you and release you with a beautiful release. And if you are wanting Allah and His Messenger and the hereafter home, then Allah has prepared for the good doers among you a great wage. Women of the Prophets, the one among you who commits obvious fahisha, the torture is double for her, and that was easy for Allah. And the one among you who is devout towards Allah and His Messenger and does a righteous deed, we give her her wage twice, and we have prepared for her a generous provision. Women of the Prophets, you are not like one of the women. If you have feared, then do not be submissive in speech, so that the one in whose heart is disease desires and say decent speech. And stay in your houses and do not dress up as the dressing up of the first Jahiliyyah. And perform salat and give the zakat and obey Allah and His Messenger. Allah only wants to remove ridges from your household and to purify you with purification. And remember what is read in your houses of Allah's verses and wisdom. Allah was nice and expert. The Muslims and the Muslimas, and the male believers and the female believers, and the obedient men and the obedient women, and the truthful men and the truthful women, and the patient men and the patient women, and the humble men and the humble women, and the mutasaddiqun and the mutasaddiqat, and the fasting men and the fasting women, and the male keepers of their privates, and the female keepers, and the men who remember Allah much, and the women who remember, has Allah prepared for them forgiveness and a great wage. And it was not for a believing man or a believing woman, when Allah and His Messenger had decided on a matter, that they should have a choice in their matter. And he who disobeys Allah and His Messenger has clearly strayed. And when you say to the one whom Allah has graced and you have graced, keep your husband to yourself and fear Allah. And you conceal in yourself what Allah is going to disclose, and you fear the people, and Allah has more right that you fear Him. So when Zayd had executed the necessary thing from her, we married her to you, so that there would be no difficulty upon the believers concerning the husbands of their adopted sons, when they have executed the necessary thing from them. And Allah's command was done. There was no difficulty upon the Prophet in what Allah had made obligatory for him, Allah's sunnah concerning those who had passed away before, and Allah's command was predestined predestination. Those who send Allah's messages and fear Him and do not fear anyone but Allah, and Allah was sufficient as a noble. Muhammad was not a father of any of your men, but Allah's messenger and the ring of the prophets, and Allah was learned in everything.